What are we doing today? Today we're fixing a leak in the roof. This is right over our bedroom, and it's leaking down in, flows across the top of the inside of the ceiling and comes out in the woodwork of the window. So I narrowed down where it was at using a bucket of water and a board, and I started down here in this area and determined, that's why this board's here, that from here down there was nothing leaking. So I moved it up to this spot. I did the same thing, and I found it was leaking in around this area. So there's nothing to see on the roof. I started peeling it up, so it looks like it's there's a couple broken pieces there. It wasn't like that, but I'm really not sure why it's leaking. There were some pieces that cracked apart. It's an architectural style, so there's layers, and it seemed like one of the thinner parts, like in this area here, where you got the part on top, and then this under here, when I was lifting it, it cracked really easily, so I'm wondering if it was cracked already somehow from the weather. It's not, there's nothing, this isn't even an area where I get up on the roof often, so even from walking on it or anything like that, so I don't know exactly what would happen with that. Kind of gets me a little concerned about other areas possibly in the future. But I started tearing this up, so I got the fork there and the crowbar, and I started just prying underneath the shingles here like this to lift them up and find out where they're at. So we've got one shingle here, then the next layer comes over to here, and I'm going to go that wide, go 2 shingles back and forth. So I'm going to go down to this level here and up, and maybe just see how it goes when I'm taking it apart. If something gets damaged, I have plenty of shingles that I can replace with. So that's what I'm doing. Here's a part here that kind of broke. So you can see where this is together. This is the top part. And then under here, when I was pulling this up, it did break, but it broke pretty easily, and then it stops right here. So I'm wondering if that's just kind of a flaw in these shingles. But if it's just sitting there, I don't see how it would break. There's the edge here. Do that one. So now you got to get underneath the shingles here. I'm taking this row here out. So you get under here and you lift up to pop out the nails that are under here. Which can be easier said than done sometimes, but you take your time on it. You can kind of feel them with the pry bar and just kind of twist it. They're not too hard to get out, but just work your way along. And I'm going to take this row off also, but I'm starting here, and then these rows further down will be a little easier to come off. I got all the ones off that I think I need to get off. It took a little more than I originally planned, but it was wet underneath, and I figured I might as well just expand the area a little bit. Obviously the main area is right here. As far as wetness, this was off, came off with the shingle, so I don't know if it was leaking there or not. It didn't seem like it inside. So I'm gonna put the new tar paper on. I swept off all the debris and everything. All the nails are out. You have to get all the nails out, and then the nails going into here, going back, because you're going to put the last row of shingles underneath that. So I'm going to cut the tar paper, new tar paper, and place that in. I might have to do it in a couple of pieces. I'm not sure how it's going to tuck underneath, but I'm going to overlap it and tuck it underneath all around the edges. I have all the shingles loosened in order to do that. Tar paper's in. I believe it's 80-pound tar paper. It's a heavier weight paper that I got originally when I did the roof. I don't know what the lower one is, but this is a lot thicker. So I shoved them all underneath, overlapped them according to the water flow direction. I had to take one nail out that I missed. So now, just to get the shingles in there, I'm going to go get a bundle of shingles and get going on that. So these are the shingles I'm using. Corning Oak Ridge Pro 50-year warranty. They're architectural shingles. I got these in 2007. I have quite a few bundles left over from when I did the roof. So they're brand new in the pack. Let's see what they look like. I don't know how much cleaner they'll look. These have discoloration from the trees. So I'm thinking probably 10 shingles or so. I lost count on them. So I'll get some nails and we'll get tapping. Alright, 2 down. This one here and this one here. Okay, 2 more shingles in. This was the first one that I had to make sure I overlapped correctly. So I had to overlap it. Here's where the edge starts, and I had to overlap it underneath here because it goes to here. So then I had to nail underneath there, right in here. So to do that, I pushed the nail into the asphalt as much as I could, and then I just used this prying fork to put on top of the nail, hold it steady up on the end here, and then hit the hammer in this area and just look at it a couple of times and make sure it's going in straight. Right, I'm going to put this nail in here. It has to go underneath here. I don't know if you can see it with the light, the sun shining right here. So it's got to go tucked under here. So I'm going to push it into the asphalt as far as I can go. If you can see, there's the nail there. I'm going to get the fork on top of it, like this. Hold it stick right here, and then check it a couple times. There we go. And that's that. And this will just lay down once it gets hot. So then we're going to do the same thing and go up as we keep putting each row in here. Alright, all done. The whole top row here, where the yellow tool is, had to be nailed underneath the shingles. I lost track of the edge of the shingle, the end of it, and I thought I needed the nail here, and this is where the other shingle ends. So there's a nail right here. I'm going to have to put some sealant on that. The end of the shingle is right here. So I did put a nail here, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'll just put a bunch of sealant there, and I think that should be fine. And I did find a crack over here. Right here in one of the shingles that I didn't take off. A little bit of a crack here, but I'll put some sealant on that too. I'm not gonna worry about that.
We interrupt this video for an important update. That turned out to be a mistake. I should have taken that shingle out and replaced it. Even though I sealed that one broken area, it produced a leak, and further down on that same shingle, there's another leak. So I'm going to have to take that shingle out anyway, and I'll do that the next day. And I'm not going to videotape that, but that's what I ended up doing. So lesson learned. If you see something like that, just go ahead and spend the extra time. I would have been done with it by now. We now return to our video.
There's a special hammer, I think it's called an offset hammer, that you can get for this, but this fork seems to be working fine. If I had tons and tons of this stuff to do, then I might invest in something like that, but I don't know how much they were. I think they were probably $50. Alright, that's it.